All right. All right, there we go. Hi, Sarah. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, there we are. All right. There's a little bit of technical difficulty. Corey should be on shortly.
Okay.
All right, good deal. So how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
Been forever, it seems like.
I know. I miss you guys.
I know. So how's things going out there? I see you out there killing it, Miss Olympic. That's awesome.
No, it's been so much fun. I've gotten to do a lot of cool stuff out here, so it's really neat. I'm kind of networking a lot, digging my claws into people a little bit.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so very awesome. So did you get the chance to take the test at the Olympic Training Center?
No, that was like double the price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to, when I went to get mine, I was willing to pay like the $800 and change to get out there for like 3 days.
I was not. I was not willing to pay that.
Just for the sheer cool factor of learning it there, my bucket list is somewhere,
Yeah, well, you can come out here and visit me, and I'll take you to the Olympic Training Center, but
there we go.
You're not going to pay.
That's right. Yeah, Corey's on, so I'm bringing him onto the broadcast next.
Okay,
there he is. All right. So, awesome. So, thank you all for tuning in to Proper Reps. Again, I am Ruben, and over there to the left is Brother Corey, the man, and in the middle we have Miss Sarah Mros. Look at that! I got that part down. So Sarah, so I don't know if you've been following our show very much. Sometimes it can be a serious hot mess. So we
That's okay. Yeah, I worked with you for a year, so I'm used to that a little bit.
That's it. Fly by the seat of the pants. What is that? Create a plan, execute the plan, or whatever. Create the plan, throw out the plan, or I don't know, something funky like that. I heard. So Sarah. So real quick, so give everybody a background on Sarah. As you heard, Sarah used to work here at Page Fitness with myself and Jamie and. I think Victor was here when you were here. Was Victor here when you were here? Yeah, Victor was here, right?
He was coming in, yeah.
Yeah, he was just coming in. Yeah, but Kaylee was here, and yeah. So Sarah is what she was here. She was also our success coach. So she got to build a lot of tight personal relationships with a lot of our female clients and clients in general. But Sarah is by far one of the most capable and professional coaches that I have the pleasure of saying that I know. And it was for the year that she was here, it was an honor to have her on our staff. So I've been following her progress as she goes through and gets her degrees and all that jazz. And so here she is on the show. So with that being said, Sarah, go ahead and say a little bit about yourself, and then we'll kick right into this.
Yeah, so you kind of covered most of it. I live out here in Colorado Springs now. I'm going to school to get my master's degree, and that's a lot of fun. I'm getting to work with a lot of really cool people, a lot of coaches out here. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the most part.
Awesome.
It's the gist of it.
Very exciting. So Sarah, I'm not sure if you watch the show. Corey and I, we have the same alma mater. So Corey is literally the tall white version of me.
Oh God!
Oh man! Yeah, got you on that one, didn't I, Corey?
Yeah. I don't know if I can handle more than one Ruben.
There you go. So we've got the entire U.S. covered now. So awesome. All right. So without further ado, we'll get started. So we're going to go through. Oh, Corey, do you have any questions you want to ask Sarah, or anything you want to add before we get going?
No, I'm good, man. Let's get this show on the road.
All right. So what we're going to talk today, this is for our outstanding viewing audience, and be sure to go ahead and if you have questions, jot them down in there. And at the end, we'll go Q&A. If it's something that's really pertinent, we'll see if we can't answer it right away. But we do see your questions as you post them. They won't post on the screen right away, but we are aware of them. Good to go. So Sarah's going to talk to us about the importance of strength conditioning for women. One of the things that I've seen a lot of in my time in this field is women will be so quick to do cardio. They'll get on the treadmill or they'll get on the elliptical or the bike, and they'll stay there for hours at a time. And I want to try to have Sarah impart onto you guys why it's so important that women also strength train. And I'm sure, Corey, you probably see the same thing over in your neck of the woods.
Oh yeah.
So with that being said, we're going to start out. So the first question, let's see if I get this to work better than I did last week. Here it goes. Ready? Oh, look at that. Getting better at this. Okay. So the question is for you, Sarah, is women tend to think that they need to do a lot of crunches and planks and sit-ups to get abs. Is that true?
No. So it's kind of it's a very common belief, I guess, that you need to, they have all these challenges, abs in 30 days, do 100 sit-ups, 100 crunches, whatever, each day. And by the end, you'll just have this huge Hercules six-pack. And it's a lot more to that. So really, to get a visible six-pack that a lot of people really strive for, that they desire, first you have to remove the fat that's covering that underlying muscle. And that is going to be mostly nutrition. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear that because nutrition is usually the hardest part for a lot of people. But that's what gets those muscles to be a little bit more visible. So nutrition, burning fat through HIIT training, which I know we'll talk about a little bit more, and cardio and all that kind of stuff, to just get that out of the way. And then you have those muscles that are more visible. So crunches and planks and all that other good core exercise and everything, yes, they strengthen the abdomens, but it's not going to get you the typical six-pack that you might want to look for. And a lot of really strong people really don't actually ever do specific core exercises because they're getting that core strength, that more of a functional core strength, in their full body exercises like their deadlifts and squats. And so they don't even really spend a lot of time doing those specific targeted core muscle strength workouts.
I do love squat.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit on the question. I know we had a specific order, Ruben, but
right.
We were talking about body fat and uncovering the muscle tissue underneath the body fat. So that kind of leads to a question that I wanted to ask: is why is it women have more body fat than men?
So this is kind of an interesting question because the body fat kind of leads back to nature a little bit, and women are made to have babies, right? So that extra body fat is kind of, that main purpose is really to be able to support and to successfully bear a child. And so that's a huge part of why women have extra body fat, really. And then the other part to that is that men have a lot more natural lean muscle mass. And muscle, as we know, burns a lot more calories than fat does. So if men have that and women don't have as much, they're going to be burning a lot more calories and they're not going to have as much fat. So it's kind of a combination of all that, along with hormonal fluctuations and all of that fun stuff.
Gotcha.
Awesome. Thank you so very much. All right. So next question on the list. Let's see. So, another thing that we tend to hear a lot from our female population is that strength training will cause them to look manly. They're afraid that they're going to completely bulk up in strength training and start looking like female Lou Ferrigno's. Is that true?
No, and I wish it was, because I want some big muscles really badly, okay? But unfortunately, this is not really true. And a lot of, female bodybuilders that people are referring to, these women are training all day or multiple times a day. Their diet is, every single calorie is counted for. they're eating just tons to be able to build that muscle. So this is something that women are working really hard to get to. This is not something that you're just going to come upon by lifting up a couple of weights. I wish it was for someone, like I said, for someone like me who really wants to get bigger, that would be great. But it's not going to happen. Stuff like that is something that's going to it takes a lot of time. And even then, it's not always guaranteed that you're going to get those big rippling muscles. So what happens more common is that you're just going to lean down and you're going to have kind of a more toned body, stronger body, and more thin, really, more than anything.
Awesome. Thank you very much. All right, Brother Corey, your turn.
Yeah. So, I mean, talking about like women and bodybuilding and stuff like that. So what would you recommend on like calorie specifics? How would you have them gain weight? Because I know a lot of hormonal factors go into play with that. So it's a lot easier for men to gain weight because we have, well, testosterone and a bunch of other stuff like that. So for a woman, I mean, you talked a little bit about the like elite athletes, like you, especially in the CrossFit world, you see like super ripped women and they get a lot of flack for, which is silly. But anyway, totally different subject. What would you recommend for a beginner person who's wanting to potentially build that muscle?
Well, when you're just beginning, the biggest thing is to kind of understand what is going to work well for you. And a lot of that is, like you said, nutrition. And so what you kind of need to decide, not so much calorie based per se. I mean, calories are important. You need to be able to track those if you are trying to put on a muscle, but really what you're eating and the content of what you're eating. So like Ruben always kind of talks about, I know he says to his client, it really depends the nutrient dense instead of so much calories. So pay attention to that. If you're somebody who's trying to get into it and build that muscle, protein's going to be huge. All of your healthy, your fats, your carbs, all that kind of stuff. So to begin with, I would say just track what you're doing, write it all down, diary, everything you need. And then you kind of play around with it to see what works for you. There's not really a specific number that I can give that is going to make somebody really strong. It's going to depend on what they're doing and what works for their body. So a lot of it's just playing around. So, okay, I've done this for a while. Now I'm going to add on some protein, see what happens in a month. Now I'm going to add on all of this and see what happens in a couple of weeks, you know. So that's kind of hard for people to hear because a lot of people want one specific answer. But really it just comes down to kind of listening to your body, paying attention to what happens, and tracking. Tracking is huge, paying attention and making sure you know what you're doing and what is working and what's not working.
Perfect. Awesome. Perfect. Great answer. We that's actually something we stress a lot in the show is try doing something different every time. Like if you get to a point that you're not seeing results, then it's time to try something different. Whether it's seek out professional help or cut back a little bit on the carbs, cut back a little bit on the protein, like whatever it is that you feel that you need to do, like within reason, obviously, you know, cut back a little bit and make smaller adjustments to see if that'll get you through your plateau. So definitely a great answer.
Awesome. Okay, so Miss Sarah. So the next question I have for you, since we were kind of on this concept here, it's you mentioned about eating protein, things like that for ladies. Now, there's another common misconception that women should avoid excessive amounts of protein. Can you shed light on that? Is that true? And if it is, why? And if it isn't, why?
That's not necessarily true. And it kind of depends on your definition of excessive. A lot of this, it really depends on your activity level, your age, your weight, all of that kind of stuff. So there are standards to how much protein somebody should have. So, you know, with just a normal person, I believe the standards are 0.8 to 1 gram for every kilogram of body weight. That goes up every time, you know, with your increased intensity exercise, whatever you're doing. So if you're exercising more, if you're doing a lot of resistance training, that's going to go up because you need that protein to build those muscles and to replenish your body. So it's not necessarily true as saying that women should not have an excess amount of protein. Really just kind of like we had talked about, dependent on what you're doing, what's working for your body. However, there is also a line of too much. And most of the time people aren't reaching that, especially with protein. It's pretty rare to eat too much protein unless they're eating just steak for every single meal or something crazy like that. And in that case, it can be a little bit too excessive because if you have too much protein, your body's not utilizing it. It's just going to be stored as fat or excreted out, whatever the case is. So not really, no. I would say it just really depends on what you're doing and the results that you're wanting.
Awesome. Thank you, my dear.
Yeah.
All right. So any questions, brother?
Yeah, I'll just going off the list. The next one is women don't need to use free weights because machines will do fine. How do you feel about free weights and machines for women in general? Free weights versus machines.
Yeah, so I'm not a fan of machines. However, they have their time and place. Obviously, if someone's kind of a beginner, they're not really comfortable with getting into free weights just yet, machines are going to be better than just getting on the treadmill and doing nothing. However, the problem with machines is that it's stabilizing your body for one. It's also most of the time, they're only focusing on one part of your body. So if you're doing, leg extensions, all you're really doing, your core stabilized, your back stabilized, so you don't have to use any of those extra muscles, and you're just kicking out your legs and working on the quads. So taking that and comparing it to like a free weight squat or a deadlift, you're using your whole body. You have to stabilize yourself. All of these muscles are coming into play now, and that is going to be such a bigger payout for you than sitting on machine. And then in addition, it's just a lot more functional. So if you think about, when are you ever going to be in a position where you're sitting down on a seat and you just have to kick up some weight real quick compared to squatting, which most of us do every single day when we pick up stuff off the ground, whatever we're doing. So it's a lot more functional. You're using a lot more muscles, so you're getting a lot more bang for your buck. Overall, in my opinion, it's just a better option to use those free weights.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So on that note, so real quick, I'm going to shoot out a saying out there to the audience. So again, thank you for tuning in to Proper Reps with me and Corey. And we have Miss Sarah Mros here, CSCS, USA Olympic weightlifting level 1 coach. And she's talking to us about the benefits of why women should strength train. And she's also helping us to dispel a lot of myths that come out there regarding women and strength training. So again, if you have questions, please go ahead and type them in the chat box. If you're watching this after the broadcast, go ahead and throw the questions in there. We will still answer them afterwards. So have right at it. So excellent. So with that being said, we're going to go on to the next one. Okay, so another one is that we hear a lot is this one. Women always come to me or into the gym or just in general. I shouldn't say just women, but the majority of them are the women that ask this question is they want to lose what do they refer to it as, this area here, right? Yeah. That I'm not going to say because I don't want to get in trouble. But but that's what they come in and ask. Hey, I want to lose that little area right there, or something around the midsection, or maybe on the side of the thigh, which I'm also not going to call what they call it because I'm not going to get in trouble. But is it possible to just target those areas? And if it is, how? And if it isn't, why?
So I really like this question because you see this all the time. This exercise, this machine, whatever it is going to get rid of your love handles, is going to get rid of anything. So it's really big and it's a common belief. And unfortunately, it's not really true. You can't, you can't really control how your body or where your body is losing fat. So yes, you can work out those specific areas and build those muscles in that area, but that's not going to cause the fat in that specific area to just disappear. So it's just not really how the body works. It's, a lot of women kind of get frustrated when they're trying to lose fat in their hips and, maybe their cheeks get slimmer instead. It's just however your body is going to work. It's just the way it's going to go. So no, that's not really true. You can't do that, unfortunately. So that one's not a good one.
All right, good deal. All right, back over to the west side of the United States of America.
Unfortunately, I wish that's the way it worked. I mean, I'm sure we could all wish that we could be like, oh man, yeah, we're gonna spot train those abs. They're gonna be popping out really quick. We're just gonna do nothing but abs for the next 4 weeks. It's actually what I did in high school. Before I
think we all did that in high school,
right?
Like,
oh, man, that six pack, I want to look like the football players, so I just did all the crunching, all the stuff. Wow.
Yep.
So let's talk about speaking of like muscle soreness and fatigue and working specific or like isolating muscles and stuff like that. Is muscle soreness after every workout necessary for an effective program?
No. So muscle soreness is going to be very common if you are just starting something, or if you're, in a normal routine and then one day you progress to a little bit heavier weight or you decide to pick up a new exercise. That's going to be within the normal range. However, when it gets abnormal is when it's been weeks and you're still getting sore, or you're getting so sore that you cannot function in your daily activities. Anything like that is just a sign that you're overtraining, you're not getting enough recovery. And all of the recovery is huge in kind of refueling your body, building back those muscles. So if you're not allowing yourself to do that, then you're really just doing more harm than good. And the biggest thing I like to tell people is that soreness is not a good gauge of whether it was a good workout. So what you should really be looking at is, are you getting stronger? So are you being able to lift a little bit more? Are you getting the results that you're wanting to? And the biggest thing, are you feeling better? Workouts, any kind of routine that you're doing is supposed to help you live a healthier, happier life. And if you're miserable and in pain all the time, it's not doing what it's supposed to do and something is wrong. So really just kind of paying attention to how you're feeling, and that's going to help you really go far with that.
Awesome. So very awesome. Thank you. All right. So let's move on to the next one. So let's see. Now, if you had a choice, you're going in there for women, they always tend to gravitate towards the cardio area. So my question for you, Miss Sarah, is this: are treadmills, ellipticals, rowers, those type of things, are they the most effective way to lose weight for females?
So they're not the most effective way. Yes, they can help you lose weight, and yes, they're better than nothing. However, they aren't the most effective. So most of the time when women are going onto the elliptical, the treadmill, what I've seen anyways is that they're going on there, they have the same routine every single day that they go on there. Same pace, same incline, same amount of time, everything's the same. And just like everything else that we're doing, if you're doing that same workout every single day or a couple times a week, eventually you're just going to hit a plateau. You're not going to improve anymore. Your body's going to adapt to it because that's what our body does. And you're just not going to get the results you want. And on the other side of that, you're really just not getting a very efficient workout from that. And I mean, unless you're doing interval training where you're, going fast for a while, slowing down, back and forth, and you have specific time frames that you're trying to reach, you're really not going to get as much out of it as you would with weights or a different kind of interval HIIT training, stuff like that. And I think a lot of women really do that because they're uncomfortable going into the weight section. They don't know what to do, and it's easy. Everybody knows how to work a treadmill, and if you don't, you can figure it out. And that always kind of makes me sad because I want women to feel comfortable going to test things out, even if they have no idea what they're doing at first. It takes a lot of guts to actually move from the cardio section and go into the weight section and kind of experiment with that. So yeah, not the most effective. It is better than nothing, but there are better ways.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I think that plays a lot into like how women are afraid of going and lifting weights because it's going to make them bulky or whatever. I know we squashed that at the very beginning, but if you guys missed out on that first question and you're curious about going in and lifting free weights or the machines, it's not going to make you bulky. Especially for women, you'd have to be training exponentially countless hours on probably an elite level, and potentially if you wanted to get really big into the bigger side of bodybuilding, like you may have to get on some sort of supplement to do that as well. But going forward, let's continue talking about like cardio and HIIT training and stuff like that. I know a lot of people don't necessarily know what HIIT training is. Could you expand on that for us?
Yeah, so HIIT training is just basically it's high intensity interval training. So it's doing an all-out effort for a certain amount of time and then taking a little bit of a break, doing the same thing, just kind of back and forth. So that's really what HIIT training is.
Okay. So I mean, expanding on that, Ruben just posted the question: which do you feel is better, HIIT training, strength, or cardio? Or maybe a potentially combination of all of them?
Yeah, so I would say the combination would be more so with the HIIT and strength training. So with cardio, you can still potentially get the effect if you're doing the right stuff. So we kind of talked about how that long, slow distance cardio on the treadmill might not be as effective as more interval training. And so that kind of goes along with getting that HIIT training and where you're doing those short bouts of all-out efforts and then coming down to rest. So I would say a combination of the two. And so the biggest thing with strength training that I had mentioned earlier is that it's building lean muscle. And as we mentioned, lean muscle is going to burn more calories than fat. So you're burning more even at rest. So that's always beneficial. And then the other thing with HIIT training is that you're able to utilize that EPOC. So if you guys don't know what this is the excess post-exercise oxygen consumption. So when you are doing these HIIT training workouts, basically your body goes into an oxygen deficit because you're using a lot of your energy storage and your body is not able to get as much oxygen as it would like to be at the homeostasis level. So afterwards, when you're done with that exercise, the really cool thing about this is that your body's still getting a little bit extra oxygen, and which is going to allow you to burn more calories up to, I believe it's like 72 hours after that workout has finished. So along with that strength training of building that lean muscle, now we have the HIIT training where you're continuing to burn more calories, more fat calories. You're just getting a lot more out of it than just doing that long cardio. So
what'd you do?
Sorry about that. Hit the wrong button. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I was wondering. Okay.
Got it out the way. There's always some sort of technical difficulty that we experience.
Yeah, no problem. Totally fine.
This is, I told you,
That's okay.
Let's say, go ahead, Arnie. So you were
no, so the only other thing I was going to say on that is that for most people anyways, long cardio is usually a lot more boring. And obviously that's not the case. Some people love it. But when you have long cardio on a treadmill, whatever you're doing, if you're just running endless amount of time, usually you're just kind of killing yourself. It's boring compared to a shorter amount of time you could get in and out with a HIIT training workout and get so much more for it, have a little bit more fun with it, feel better. So that's what I would kind of say would be the best for, especially for female weight management.
Okay.
Awesome.
A great analogy that I use is it's the same concept. HIIT training too, but it's like driving down Main Street in a car. You start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. You have to stop, rev up the engine again, go, then stop, and then you rev up the engine again, and then you stop. Basically, what that does in a car is that you use more gas, essentially, having to stop the engine, rev the engine back up. Same concept with your heart rate. You're going to increase your heart rate exponentially over the course of 30 seconds to a minute, or whatever your physical level is. Even if it's 20 seconds, 10 seconds, you just go all out for that duration, and then you rest for the same amount of time, or 30 seconds to a minute, just whatever your level of fitness is, and then you just repeat that process over and over again. So you're burning a lot more calories, just like your car would be burning a lot more gas.
Absolutely. Awesome. Okay, so with that being said, is it true that women need to be sore after every workout in order for it to be a truly an effective workout?
No. So we talked about that a little bit, didn't we?
Yes.
Oh, well, crap. I didn't mark that one off. Again. Right.
That's okay. It's okay, Ruben. We all know you. We all know you and love you. It's okay. We accept your flaws.
These are all works in progress.
Here's a good one. Kind of going along the lines of calories in versus calories out and burning those calories. Is it true that they burn more calories than if women burn more calories than they eat? Can they eat anything they want?
Okay, so this is another one that I really wish was true. Unfortunately, it's not quite true. So yes, you can eat a little bit more, but calories and weight loss, it doesn't really work as smoothly as we want it to. So it's not just I eat this many calories, I burn the exact amount, I'm good, I'm solid, don't have to worry about it. We still have to consider the nutrients of those calories. So if they're just eating burgers, pizza, whatever they want, not only are they not replenishing the nutrients that their body needs from those workouts, so they're not able to rebuild their muscles and to replenish those energy storage, they're also stocking up on fat. Yeah. So it's just, like I said, I wish it worked like that, but when you eat a lot of random crap or whatever you're eating, it doesn't necessarily go to where you want it to go. It's going to do what it's naturally going to do. And if you're eating fatty, greasy foods, then it's going to be stored as fat in your body. So no, not quite. You can't eat more. Damn
it.
Come on, guy. You're just getting good.
Darn it, I meant to do this. There we are. Okay. I'm sorry. You said stored as fat.
So anyways, the big quote on this that a lot of people say is you really just cannot out-exercise a bad diet. And that is very true. You can do it. Many of us wish you could. I really wish. I love to eat pizza. That's mine. So it just doesn't work like that.
Yeah. You guys didn't know, I am a bona fide fat kid. I was 300 pounds when I first started this whole fitness extravaganza. So definitely wish that I could out-train a bad diet. But unfortunately, like she said, it doesn't work that way.
So now, on that note, about excess calories and all that jazz, is it true that the best way for women to lose weight is going on some extreme caloric reduction diet where there's like some 800 calories a day and you're on the celery and fruit diet or whatever? Is that truly the best way to lose weight? And if it is, why? And if it isn't, why?
So no, this is really terrible for you, and this is something that so many women either do now or have done at least once in their life. And it's really sad because it's really just restricting yourself and putting yourself in a crappy position. Your body is very efficient. So if you're eating less, your body's going to try to stay efficient and not burn as much. So what's happening is that your body's kind of in a starving mode, if you will. and it's going to just kind of close everything down and not let go of that excess fat that it has, because it wants to stay alive and it wants to be okay. It doesn't know that it's going to get food in the next couple hours. So no, that's a terrible idea. Please don't do it. The better option is to have enough calories that you're able to support your exercise, whatever you're burning, just on a daily basis. And then eating regularly, because if we're eating regularly, our body is going to kind of get the idea that, hey, I'm getting food every couple hours, so it's okay for me to let this excess fat go. And that's kind of the cool part about it, and the cool part about metabolism. And so one thing I wanted to bring up, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Dr. Gazer. So he is a professor at ASU, at Arizona State University. And he does a lot of really cool research on being fat and fit versus skinny and unfit. But he also has a lot of books about dieting and how I just watched him present a couple weeks ago, and he brought up that America's actually dieting more than ever. So a lot of people are dieting. However, we're also getting fatter than ever. And so the two just don't add up. And so he was really just kind of looking at, why are these diets not working? And a lot of it is because of this. It's calorie restriction and all these other fad diets that just aren't really beneficial to your body, and they're lies and they're tricky. And so a lot of people are just kind of destroying their metabolism.
Yeah. One thing to take into consideration, if you find yourself in a calorie restricted diet right now, I know the majority of clients that come through my doors are like, they eat between literally 800 calories and 1,000 calories every day. And they think, well, it's basic science. Calories or basic math, calories in versus calories out. If I'm not eating as much, then I'm going to burn more throughout the day. But as she said, it doesn't work that way, guys. One thing that you need to kind of think about, though, is when you start eating more, your body's going to be not adjusted to that. So you will gain weight for the first little bit. Trust us, give it I would say at least a minimum of 2 weeks of eating more healthily and eating more plentiful. So, we can't give you specific numbers on the show. You can message one of us and we can help you figure out that number. But just know that you will start, once you start eating more, you are going to put on weight. It's not going to happen overnight, but it will, once you get going, it will come right off, I promise.
I think that's a big thing too. Like you said, waiting, trusting that it's going to happen. And that's a big issue that a lot of us have, that a lot of our clients have, is that they want the results fast, or as soon as something goes wrong, or if they gain a couple pounds, it's kind of a panic mode, and they want to go back to what they know and what they think is better for them. So that's a big thing for everybody to remember. Just stick things out, give it time to work, because nothing is going to happen in a day, in a week. Let your body adjust and then decide if something needs to change.
Yep. Truth.
That was absolutely awesome. And of course, I agree 130% with it. Excellent information. So with that being said, one thing that women will go through that men will not go through, and I don't envy them at all, is pregnancy. Now we know that, there are definite nutrient and physical things that are different for women than men. So when they get pregnant, things change. But one of the things that seems to come up is that when they're pregnant, they just need to really kind of gorge themselves with food, because they're let's face it, they're making a brand new baby, right? It's a whole person growing in there, so they need to eat more. Is that true? And if it is, why? And if not, why?
So it is true that you do need to eat a little bit more, but people do have that idea that I'm eating for two. I can eat whatever I want. I have to grow this baby inside of me. And unfortunately, it's a lot less than you would think. So typically, somebody is going to only want to increase their calories by about 300, and that's more so in the second and third trimester. And so just to give everybody an idea, 300 calories is just about a piece of peanut butter toast and a banana. And that's your extra 300 calories. So just kind of taking a step back, and yes, you do need a little bit more, but it's not a lot. And the most important thing is just making sure that you're eating all the right nutrients and staying healthy through, light exercise, whatever you were doing before. But yeah, no, you're not eating for two full people. That is definitely a myth.
Oh, so awesome.
To start with, just a little tiny. Yeah.
So let's ask one more question. So now again, for those of us who are still logged in, the proper reps. Oop, I still got the question up there, don't I? The proper reps with Ruben and Corey. This is Miss Sarah, and feel free. I know some of you may have had questions on this. Feel free to throw them into the chat box. We will see them. We will answer them as we go through. And in a few minutes, we're going to open up the floor to questions and answers. If you're watching this after the broadcast, you can still go ahead and put question in there. We will get back to you. And we will be putting a link in on how to email us at Proper Reps. And if you're on the West Coast, you'll probably get Corey's response more. If you're on the East Coast, you'll probably get my response more. And again, we love questions. We love to go out there. We do this for free for you guys, to bring knowledge out there, unbiased. So there's not a monetary reason why we're saying what we're saying. Our guests are gracious enough to come on here because we don't pay them jack.
Wait a sec, what? I thought I was getting
Yeah. Like trying gum. I can send you some gum.
That's right. I got 15 cents in my pocket. I can mail it to you. All right. So the next question. Let's see here.
I think it's since we're talking about weight management mostly, that's where our conversation went, and pregnancy and just nutrition in general and weight loss in women. How do you feel about women weighing themselves every day to gauge progress?
I absolutely hate this. And so when I was actually the success coach at Page Fitness, this was one thing I struggled with so much. And I told women, either throw away the scale or put it in the basement, something, get rid of it, because it is just such a negative thing. So for me, a lot of this that I kind of try to tell people is that you're not getting the full answer from a scale. And when you're weighing yourself every single day, it can quickly become very obsessive, and you get very frustrated with yourself when this is not changing, when the number is not changing. And so my thing, and I have a very specific example about this, I think last year, and I posted this on Facebook, so some of you guys might have seen this, but I had gone through a year where I had got my body fat percentage taken in the beginning of the year. And then for that rest of the year, I'd paid very close attention to my nutrition, my workouts, everything. I was very strategic with it. And even as a very educated strength coach, I was still getting frustrated because every once in a while I'd step on the scale and I'd maybe only see 1 or 2 pounds. That was it over the entire year. So it for me, I can understand how it was frustrating because it was frustrating for me. But then at the end of that year, I got my body fat percentage taken again. And I had found that I had lost 10 pounds of fat and gained 8 pounds of muscle. And that was huge. And if you're looking at that on the scale, it doesn't show anything. It shows 2 pounds of a difference. And that's nothing for a lot of people for an entire year. So I think to really understand and what's going on, it's not just the number on a scale. And the biggest thing is that it just causes so much stress and negative feelings. And when you're going through this, you don't need that, especially for women. We beat ourselves up so much already. We don't need a number telling us that we are not at the good place. So throw them out. Don't pay attention to them. There's so many other things that you can gauge your success on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Great answer. Throw the scale away. Do not let it dictate your happiness, guys.
Yes.
We've said that about 1,000 times on the show. I think we say it about every episode at least 4 times. Do not let the scale dictate your happiness, guys. If you can use it as a tool, awesome. If it gets obsessive, like she was saying, just throw that SOB away. It's not helping you at that point. So,
yeah, I say because it really does only tell you a fraction of what's actually going on. I think when we had Sean on last week, he said the exact same thing, right? That it's using the scale as your only means of gauging your progress is like trying to drive down the highway looking through a toilet paper tube. You're only seeing so much.
Yep.
You want to make sure that you get the whole picture. So awesome. So with that being said, we're gonna kind of open this up to Q&A. And so if you have any questions out there, feel free to go ahead and ask us. So this is gonna be our situation. And again, if you are looking for questions after this, feel free. We're going to go ahead and drop the email address in for proper reps, so you can send us questions. Again, you can find me on Facebook, obviously on this page here, Strength and Conditioning with Ruben Pruitt. If you're in the Watertown area, you can also swing by Page Fitness. Come find me there. And if you're out on the West Coast side, out in Utah, you got Corey Peterson out there. He's owner and a serious all around awesome guy at Peterson Barbell. Again, this is what we do. This is all we do. We love to bring this out there. So please ask us questions. All of us are I hope knowledgeable and bringing value to you. So with that being said, any questions out there? Any of you ladies have experienced anything that you were looking to address or whatever? Questions out there? Oh, did I echo? I did.
Yeah, it was me.
Yeah.
I pushed the button.
Oh, you're good. All right. So I don't think we're getting too many.
Well, before we go into that though, I'd like to just kind of say something to whoever's listening. There's a couple things actually. So number one, anytime that you're working with a trainer, don't be afraid to question them. I think this is really big for a lot of people, because if you have a trainer and they can't answer your questions about why they're having you do something or whatever it is, then there's a problem. And unfortunately, just like every career, there are people out there that don't really know what they're doing, or that kind of have decided to pick it up over the weekend because they played college football, something crazy. There are people like that, and there's a lot of them. I've seen a lot of terrible things that other trainers have done. So when you're going into a gym, whatever you're doing, don't be afraid to question them, wonder, ask for their certifications. Honestly, that alone can be big too. And then if you
their own horns.
Yeah, if you don't feel comfortable with something that they're doing, get out of there. It's better to do that than to put yourself in harm when in somebody that doesn't really know what they're doing. And then the other thing I want to say is that nothing is going to work for everyone. Find something that works for you. And this is really difficult in women who maybe have never really had an athletic bone in their body their whole life, and they just kind of don't think that they're strong enough to do something, or they don't have the skill. Find something that makes you happy. Start with it, even if it's small improvements, or you're barely just kind of getting into it. And just appreciate yourself, your body, appreciate other women who are out there, because just like you, they have their own issues and their concerns, everything. So I think it's exciting to me to see a lot of women in the gym now, because it's very empowering for all of us. It's a very supportive community. And yeah, so I just want, I want other women to kind of feel that empowerment and feel that strength. So don't be afraid to get out there.
Very well said. Very well said.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's just super awesome. So I think on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. So I'm going to go ahead and drop our email on the board there. So again, you can email myself and Corey at properreps@gmail.com. If you have questions, you want to share something, you want advice, whatever, please hit us up. We love to do this. That's about all I can really add to that. Sarah, you've been absolutely positively amazing.
Thank you, guys.
I never once did I doubt that you would be less.
Hey, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, Sarah, what's the best way that they can get a hold of you? I mean, email or website.
Well, Facebook's always an easy way, but I can provide my email too. I check my email all the time. I'm a little addicted to it, so that's an easy way.
Okay. If you don't mind. I mean, it's entirely up to you, so.
No, I would love that. I definitely want people to reach out to me if they have any concerns or issues, whatever it is. I want to be accessible.
Okay. Cool. So if you want to just type your email in and we'll toss it up there for you. And then we can go from that part. Can you get that? Can you see that on your side there, Sarah?
No.
In the chat. Team chat.
No. What am I looking at?
Team chat button.
The what?
Team
little
chat.
Yellow button in the bottom left corner.
Thank you. Yeah, that's what I need.
Again, this is Proper Reps with Ruben and Corey, and as always, it is a work in progress.
As always. And it always will be. So if you're looking for like super professionalism and big mumbo jumbo blah 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 science words,
it ain't happening.
Not here.
This is a place with where analogies is a whole language in itself. Absolutely. Outstanding. So here we go. So again, we're gonna put
West Coast.
HMROS 13. And yes, I do the hunt and peck. All right. So Sarah, just to make sure I got this up there right. All right.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes, thank you guys so very much. And again, you guys are the reason why we do this. Sarah, again, absolutely amazing. We had our show with Miss Sarah Mros. She is a certified strength and conditioning specialist through the NSCA and also Olympic level weightlifting 1. Has a lot of nutrition knowledge and experience helping women and people in general, but especially women, get a handle on weight control and why they should absolutely positively strength train. It really is paramount that women take the time out, and I don't care if you're just going out there and grabbing a couple dumbbells and starting something. Strength training is the most efficient and longest lasting method to reaching the body that you want to have. It really is. What's the old saying? Nothing worth having comes easy, and this is one of them. So again, thank you guys very much. Again, if you guys have any questions, even after the show, go ahead and type them into the chat box. If not, I want to say thank you again on behalf of Corey and myself. This is Proper Reps. Thank you very much, Miss Sarah, and y'all have a wonderful day.
See you guys.